I recently did a past life regression with Mayra Rath of Soul Ascension Hypnosis, and here's what happened. The session was 2.5 hours, and it felt like a ride at Disneyland where I was being guided into different rooms. It was fun. And long story short, I was shown 2 past lives. I was shown a Native American lifetime that was full of love and community and joy. I was an archer and a healer, and I recognized the soul of my brother in that life, and I recognized my great aunt's soul in that life. Then I was shown a pre-1800s life where I was left for dead in my own basement because I was a woman earning her own money. This was the root lifetime of a current block I'm having around my own creative worthiness. So Mayra then guided me to a temple where she called in my spirit guides, and she also called in my late dog, Billy. So I felt Billy with me. I saw him. He communicated with me. I wept. It sounds wild, but I posted a clip of this on the Woo Report's Instagram if you want to see it. I also hung out with my late grandmother. And then to heal my fear around my creative worth, Mayra channeled light language. And light language, if past life regressions aren't already bonkers, light language is so out of control. I'm sharing a clip of it in this episode so you can hear what it sounds like. And we get into in this episode what it is. But what I'll say now is when she was channeling this light language, I felt energy move through my body. And I heard a message from Source, which was, "You are whole." It was insane. Overall, the experience was 10 out of 10. And I came back from that liminal theta state, the trance state, totally refreshed, with a full heart, ready to conquer the world. I would recommend it to anyone who feels curious about it. And I was so happy to see listener questions come in for this. So Mayra answers those questions in this episode, and we talk all about how I prepped for this past life regression, soul families and soul contracts, and we get into the doubt around it all. Is this real? Was what I was seeing, sensing, feeling, saying, experiencing real? And I've struggled with that in the past, but we dealt with it head on before my session, and we talk all about that in this episode. I'm so curious how you feel about it. Do you have doubts, or do you trust it? Let's go. Hi, I'm Laura Scarpati, filmmaker and woo-woo enthusiast. Here today to cut through the noise, pull back the veil, and cozy up in the space between reality and spirituality. Thanks for listening to The Woo Report. Mayra Rath, welcome to The Woo Report.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Laura. This is going to be fun.
Well, it's so great to see you again. You have been doing past life regressions for people for 26 years.
Yes. I can't believe it.
Why do you do this work?
I always was very curious about it. I grew up in a very spiritual home. My father was a channel, a full body trance channel, a medium. He was extremely gifted. And I think I was maybe like 11 or 12 years old when we sat and had a conversation about reincarnation. And I was like, what? So I think he really planted the seed of curiosity for me. And from then, I read Many Lives, Many Masters, like I want to say in late 90s, 98, 97. So when the opportunity came with the American Board of Hypnosis, where they were teaching the certification class, I just jumped on it. I jumped on it, not really having a plan or anything. But yeah, so here I am.
Here you are now with a 3-month wait list to have to do these regressions. Yes, incredible.
I get to do this every day, and I've learned so much. It's almost like a part of me lives in this make-believe world. So much of my time is occupied by going time travel, right? And just unveiling what's really going on there. Things that our history books did not. teach us, right? And we're not just talking earth, we're talking also beyond earth. So yeah, I never really thought about that I spend half my day not in this reality.
Yes.
It's crazy to think that.
I love it so much. First, I want to talk about the prep. You suggested no alcohol for a week, no red meat or pork for a week. Why?
Mhm. I intuitively received that information. This is not something any of my teachers ever did. You know, if you worked with Dolores Cannon, I don't think she said, don't eat meat. This is just over time. What I've been able to discern is best for someone that wants to do that. Meat is very grounding. Alcohol, drugs, all of that is very, very grounding. We all vibrate on a different level. Think of it like a high-rise building, and there's a lobby and there's a penthouse, right? We are occupying vibrationally on different levels. And so, I work with a lot of clients that, they're not eating great. They're vaping and smoking and, drinking and partying. And then they see a video. Okay, they'll see a video and they're like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing. I want to do that. And I'm not saying that they can't do it because everyone is capable of doing it. But now we're talking vibrationally. Where are they? Right? And what type of connection are they going to have with their spirit guides? Because as you know, we bring in your guides during a session. And, some people are like, oh my God, they're telling me this, while others are having a little harder time connecting and trusting what is being told to them. So you can, walk into the lobby of this. This is just an analogy. You can walk into the lobby, and maybe as we're moving through the regression, you're going to the first level, you're going to the second level, third, fourth, and maybe that's where you're going to stay on that fourth level and, experience it from that level, while others are rising 11th, 12th, 13th floor. So it's really important not to compare, because a lot of people will read books and say, I want that. I want that experience. I want to connect with my higher self like that. And then they come in and they're disappointed. And it's like, yeah, but you eat McDonald's every day, or, So vibrationally, are you a match to mimic what you read? And it's likely not going to be that way, but what it will be is perfect for you. It's going to be perfect for you, no matter what you experience. It's what you are ready for. So
I love that. I had a listener ask the question about red meat, about if you're eating red meat, is it because it's another animal? Could the other animal, you said it's grounding, but just get granular about that for a second. Like, is it grounding because it's another living creature's energy, meat? Like, could we possibly like go into, a cow's a cow's life? Like, what, can you get into that for a second?
when you really get into it,
Yes.
let's say you have a ribeye steak
Okay.
the day before a session, which you could if you want to.
Sure.
The ribeye steak is not going to prevent you from having an experience. But what's in your body in this moment, right? What is still processing and digesting in your body when you close your eyes is the fear of what that animal went through. And I am not a vegetarian, so I am not, I eat very little meat, but I eat on occasion, right? Meat. So I'm not poo-pooing anyone that
Totally.
right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
but I'm talking about if you want to have a spiritual experience, okay, what this really means. And so you're going to close your eyes and you're going to go inward with still the energy of what that animal went through. That's the bottom line. That's it. And when you're so grounded and, processing all this food, you are a channel. and everything you eat is matters. It matters. It's like the antenna. And remember the old fashioned antennas on the cars that you can pull up, right? Some people had them really, really high. So that's what you're kind of doing, is you're connecting that into higher realms. And it really just, not eating meat for a week and clearing your body just helps you to be in a higher frequency and connect. You are the antenna, right?
I love that. And also, same with alcohol, right? Alcohol is just a toxin for our body, and
Yeah.
it's just not great for us. You also talked
No.
about being really hydrated. And when we spoke before we did the past life regression, you said that water raises your vibration.
Yes, it does.
And I never knew that, but it makes so much sense if we are a conduit and we need the water in our bodies in order to help us receive. Is that right?
I love that. Exactly. Yeah, drink lots and lots of water and be intentional about your water is what I was telling you. And look at you drinking out of a glass, because I did advise, we're all drinking water out of containers. And that's great, because keeps your water nice and icy and cold, right? But when you are moving towards a session, I ask you to go back to a glass, to an open container, because as you know, I think we've all seen those experiments where you talk to the water and you give love to the water, right? It hears you. It is consciousness. And so speaking to your water and infusing it with beautiful thoughts about what's coming, those beautiful affirmations that you can tell and speak into your water. I'm trusting that this water allows me to surrender. I allow myself to let go. I connect so easily, things like that. And when you're holding the glass, infusing it with those thoughts, it hears you. There's memory in it, and then you drink. So again, I want to thank my guides just for all of these little protocols that they've given me, because you don't have to do them, right? That's probably why you were never instructed to do it, but I think they really do make a difference in your session and your experience overall.
It's interesting because I did my first past life regression right on the heels of reading Many Lives, Many Masters, basically. So, Many
Mm.
Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss is very much the gateway drug into the spiritual scene, into past lives. I will link it because if you haven't read it, welcome to the party. Like, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Without a real basis of spiritual work before you do a past life regression, all of these types of prep you may not be used to. In the past 5 years, I've really dug into my spirituality, and that has included things like prepping for ayahuasca, no meat, no
Yeah.
pork.
Same
It's
thing.
same thing, like just and prepping your body to be a better conduit, to be a clearer conduit, a better channel. And doesn't have to be right before you do a past life regression. You can do it every day to be a
That's
channel for
right.
yourself. There were other things for prepping. We did some intention setting, which I loved. Just things that you just mentioned. I surrender easily. There was also a 20-minute pre-hypnosis meditation that you sent with your voice, which is so beautiful. And you basically prep us for what hypnotherapy and the past life regression will feel like, will sound like in your voice. And it really helped me feel safe in your energy. And you
Yes.
suggest to prep and do this 8 times before. Why?
Why? So it's interesting. It used to be five. And as I was consulting with clients that were having sessions the following week, um, based on their answers, five was not enough. So I upped it. I upped it to 8. And I know that you didn't do your 8, but that's okay because you came with experience, right? This is more with if you've done past, you don't have to do it. But I suggest that you do it when you're brand new, that you don't meditate. It's like, what is meditation? And it absolutely brings my energy to you. It brings my voice into your subconscious mind. And what it's essentially doing is each time you listen, you're trusting that voice more and more each time. You're letting go a little deeper each time, a little deeper, a little deeper. And it's very common that my clients start actually going into past lives in those 20 minutes. It's 8 was the magic ticket. And some people they are very diligent. They're like, I've done it 8 times, or they'll say, I love it. I've done it. I'm doing it morning and night. They're just like double downing. They're really enjoying it because they're already starting to have experiences with it. So, yeah.
Well, the other piece of it is that it's extremely refreshing. It's
Well,
refreshing.
thank you.
And that's how I
Yeah.
felt after I did the past life regression with you too. And in the past 2 that I've done, I have been absolutely wiped, absolutely exhausted after them.
That does, I will say that does happen
It
to
does. Okay.
some of my clients. Yeah, that is something normal. I had someone last week that came in, and when I always check in on you when I send you your recording. How are you feeling? And she says, I literally slept 18 hours like after it.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, she went off to another planet. So, again, energetically, everyone is going to feel something different. When you do feel wiped, what you should do is ground. Now you need to ground. Go have a steak. Go have a steak. But no, don't have a steak. You don't have to do that. Just get out on the grass and ground. Step outside. Spend time barefoot in your yard. Eating and drinking will, of course, ground you, right?
Yes. Past life regression. People are like, what? When you say going under, and now maybe I shouldn't say going under. That's kind of how I shouldn't say it. You're shaking your head at me. Okay. So
No.
what should I be saying? So I'm like, when I go under, so I'm like, what I'm thinking is I'm under hypnosis.
To me, going under sounds more like you're under the influence of something. Are you under the influence of something? No, right? This is all you, baby. This is all you, right? So really, it's just a state of trance. It's an altered state. And not to mention, I get really interesting calls or emails from people that have made up their mind that they cannot be hypnotized. And I think it makes me laugh, right? It just makes me laugh that they have already put the nail in the coffin for themselves. And they'll say, I really want to do this, but I can't be hypnotized. So of course my response is, really? Who told you that? Right?
Yeah.
Where did you get that from? Like, what happened? Have you had this done before? And no, it's really hard for me to quiet my mind. They think it's like meditation, and it's not. I will say that some people need a little bit more, and that's why I love, the prep is critical for some people to really take it serious.
Tell me how long it normally takes.
I really like to spend time with you, and there's a method to it. You're not really aware that there is some conversational hypnosis going on, okay? And that I'm, secretly already putting in suggestions. So that's happening, but it's really also getting to know you, getting you to relax, learning about who is in their family, who are those important people, characters that are in their lives, because they do tend to show up in the past life. Maybe your brother in a past life is your child today, right? So yeah, the pre-talk, we call it a pre-talk. There's also a consultation the week prior to your session. There's a lot of hand-holding, and I think that's really important also to create a level of trust, because that's the hardest part is people feel very vulnerable and they feel like they're not in control. And that's actually not true. They are very much in control. And, you know, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I can't get in unless you let me in. So you are fully, fully in control. You can open your eyes at any time, but you don't want to, right? You really don't want to. You're in it. You're already in it.
Mm. And it does feel great to be in it. Similar to the meditation, you guide me into a liminal space. What it feels like is a liminal space where you're not sleeping, you're not fully awake.
It's in between. Yeah. A really good analogy of where I take you is, think of when in the middle of the night when you have to use the restroom. It's 3, 4 in the morning, and you're sort of, the bladder wakes you up, and then sometimes you fight it. You fall back asleep, but then there's a moment where it's like, no, I definitely want to use the restroom. Notice how when you roll out of bed and you're going to make your way, usually in the dark. I know I don't turn lights on. Most people like it dark. You want to do your business. Think about that state. It's quiet. And notice that when you are using the restroom, how quiet your mind is. Sometimes a thought may come through like, what day is it? That's where you are, sort of in that like lost and in between. You're not asleep, but you're definitely not awake.
Mm.
That is theta. That's a theta state that you're in. And this is why when you go back to bed, you fall asleep like that. Like you're instant, because you're right there in between. You're right before falling asleep.
Mm.
So it's really easy for many to just drop right into sleep.
Mm.
That's where I take you. So I really want to emphasize, when you're going to have this experience, I'm not taking you anywhere you've never been, brain state wise. So when people say, I can't, I can't, I don't think I could be hypnotized. It's silly. It's so silly, because it's like you do it every night. Every night when you're falling asleep, you're passing the state that we actually work in. You're passing it, right? So I hope that makes sense, that
You are the queen
it's
of
the most natural.
analogies, the queen of analogies. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to get
Thank you.
to the ego analogy because that's my favorite. And we're
Oh,
almost there because we're in this liminal state. And then you are guiding my subconscious to different memories. The guiding, it's so simple, but if you trust yourself, it really does show you what you need to see. So in my past life regressions, I have had this voice in my head, which I feel like is relatable to people that are maybe thinking about getting a past life regression or are really unsure. It's like, is that real? Is that real? Is that real? And that's the voice that was in my head, my other 2 past life regressions. Is this real? Is what you're seeing is real? This can't be real. There's no way this is real. Like over and over and over again. And with you, we addressed this head on because I knew this about myself. I don't want this voice asking me if it's real or not. I want to believe it. I want to just follow what is shown to me and trust it. I want to trust it. So you told me this amazing analogy about our ego, which you have named Molly.
Yeah.
Can you please tell everyone about Molly and what we do during a past life regression?
Well, Molly it's really interesting. She's kind of new. So thank you, Spirit. Because before I would just call it the ego, right? We all have the ego.
Yes.
But it's really interesting ever since I named her. And for the gentleman, I call it Manny.
Okay.
So it's Manny or Molly.
I love it.
So, Molly she's actually a very big part of you, right? She's very much involved in your life. And she is going to come on this journey with you, unfortunately. So I don't know when you're struggling with your Molly, when Molly is telling you certain things in your head. We're quietly going through this. And here comes Molly saying, you're making this up. This isn't real. because that's what Molly does. They gave me this analogy of having like an Uber experience, right? We've all been in a Lyft or an Uber, and think of your past life regression as you're being picked up for a ride. And when you get into the car, you're going to sit in the back seat because you are a passenger. So know that the driver has you. The driver is your guide or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. But it knows where it's taking you. And you can just sit back as the passenger, relax, look out the window, and just tell me what you see, right? Trust it. But there's someone else in the back seat with you, and that's Molly. When you get in the car, she gets in the car. And she's strapping herself in, right? She is ready to go on this journey with you. So we can't not have her in the car because, again, you built her, right? She's a big part of you. She's like an extra limb, right? However, when you feel that she is voicing an opinion about your journey, where she's creating doubt, this is when you say, get in the trunk, just get, and it's so funny. Before, my clients wouldn't say, I'm having trouble with my ego. They would never say that. They're just silently suffering.
Yes.
And I can usually tell when there's resistance. When there's resistance, I can see the body and they get very quiet. And it's like, quiet is not good. So it's really important to keep your clients talking. Tell me more. What else? What else? Oh, that's interesting. What else happens? So my job is to pull, and keep you talking, because when there are those quiet moments, that's deadly. Because now you're kind of by yourself in your head, and you're having a waltz with Molly. And
get in the trunk, Molly. Get in the trunk.
Get in the trunk.
Yes. I love that so much. It was the first time that I did not have this voice in my head saying, you don't really see boats. Those aren't boats. That's not a boat. It's that. You don't see a boat. What are you talking? Why would you see a boat? Like that
Yeah,
was
that's
the
so
voice.
random.
Yeah, it's so random. It was the first time that I trusted. I see a couple canoes coming in.
You did.
I sure did. And the thing is, it's like once you trust it, then the picture becomes more clear.
Yes.
In the same way, when you're talking to a medium and a medium gives you something and you are like, yes, that, and then they see more because you've confirmed. Yes. So it's like you're confirming it with yourself as well. You gave Molly some props. You were like, no, Molly's great in your life. She keeps you alive. But in a past life regression, you said she's never going to help you.
She's never going to help you. So when you are receiving information, just trust it, because where is it coming from, right? It's coming because the door's open and now you're able to tap in. What I was going to tell you is that since I named her, some of my clients right in the middle of a session, they'll say, Molly's here. Whereas before they didn't. They wouldn't say my ego is here. They would not say that. So it's been really, really interesting to bring in a name, and you can call it Molly or Martha or whatever you want, right? But it really, it empowers you somehow. It kind of gives you control back. Like, oh, there's Molly. Because you didn't know what to call it. And now you do, right?
Yes. Also, when you say something like my ego, it kind of feels like a shadow side of you. And oftentimes I feel like we are scared of our shadow. We don't want to address our shadow head on. Right before we began our session, I mentioned to you that I was having this vulnerable block. So what you did was you took me back to the root cause of that block.
Yes.
We began to heal this wound. And during that, you channeled light language. I'm going to play a clip of it.
Preki karashte uru umashi a kioko hu unu tushe I pratiarashetia. Sohuku unu ashiatie hiheyi nayaki urutuku umashte.
I was channeling light language as a little girl, very, very young, but I didn't know what it was. I had this language that just came out of me. And, to a 4-year-old, I felt like I was making it. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it just felt good. But my mom caught me speaking it, and she would scold me. And I think once she scolded me hard enough that it scared me. And I basically put it in a closet and I locked the door, and it was put away for 55 years.
Wow.
Right? Well, not 55 years, 50 years. I'm aging myself now, but yes. As an adult, I started taking channeling with Wendy Gale, who channels Archangel Metatron, and they're a part of my podcast as well. And so I did level 1, 2, and 3. And Metatron, from the get-go, he told me, do you know what light language is? And during my one-on-ones with him, he pushed me to practice with him. And it was so uncomfortable to do it with this benevolent archangel who spoke the most beautiful. I felt so intimidated, and I was like, I am just making a fool of myself. This is just totally made up. But there's a method to it. And more and more practices for months we would practice. And then one day I was called to take a bath. And, a bath is, for me, such a ceremony.
Totally.
It's like, it really is.
Yes.
It's like you're in communion.
Yes.
And so I prepared that water, right? I put music, I dimmed the lights, lit a candle. I just felt something is going to happen. Oh, Epsom salt, 2 cups of Epsom salt. And I got in the water, and I was called to do some light language, just start. And I'm telling you, I don't know what happened in that tub, but it was like a switch went on. Like it just turned on, and it went from make-believe to full-on channeling that was flowing out of me. And I was weeping, just weeping, because it was like remembering my soul language. It was remembering who I was. And that's when I had the memory of being 4.
Wow.
Like I had completely, that memory was gone, and it was in the tub that I remembered it.
Wow.
Yeah. So what light language is they are symbols. It is the language of your light. You think about in the celestial realm, they don't speak English. They don't speak Spanish or German. It's all telepathy. It's all frequency. But when sound does come out, it is the language of your soul. And that is what light language is. Years ago, I think, people still call it speaking in tongues. Over the years, it's progressed through channeling. It's like I can tell when it's my light language, and then sometimes it goes into fairy. Yeah, I start to channel different dialects, and I'm consciously aware. I'm like, this is not me. This is not me. Yeah, because I already know my imprint, and then when other types of languages, it's like a dialect. It sounds very, very different. And then sometimes it's codes, and sometimes I start singing, like a melody starts coming out of me. So they are sigils, symbols, that what I want you to know is that whatever I channeled, you already have it inside of you. We are all the same. But what the language is doing is activating what's inside of you already. And so it's like like your DNA understands what I'm saying. You don't, your DNA does. And so it's going, wake up, wake up, wake up in different parts of your body. When you're hearing it, there are certain activations happening within you. That's what it is.
And what I can say is you channeled it during my healing process. I felt chills, I felt movement all over my body. And because I had seen a couple of your videos before, I wasn't totally like caught off guard by what it sounded like, because it does not sound like any language that I've heard in this lifetime before. But I was so excited to experience it. I just thought, what is it saying? I'm going to try and translate it in my head. I got one message though over and over again.
You did?
Yes. And it was, you are whole. You are
Wow.
whole. You are whole. You are whole. And that's kind of how it was coming through. That's all I got from it.
Oh my gosh.
But it was amazing. It was truly incredible. And so thank you so much for doing that for me.
You're so welcome.
And it felt so amazing. So you mentioned Metatron, and I am unfamiliar. I mean, I've heard you talk about him, but for listeners who don't know who Metatron is, can you explain who he is?
Yeah. So, well, we all know Archangel Michael, right? Well, Archangel Metatron is right up there. He is said to be the very first archangel created by Source, right? So he was there during creation. I have the wonderful opportunity to meet with him every month through Wendy Gale, who is a full body trance channel for him. So when she brings him in, her voice changes.
Wow.
Her voice changes, and so it's like a Q&A. So it's it's called Channeled Conversations with Metatron, and it's a series that I have on my podcast. It's a lot of fun, and listeners can send in questions for him. We've tackled a lot of really curious questions that, humanity has. So it's a lot of fun.
I love that. I'm going to link that too in the show notes. In our pre-talk, you ask us about our family members, our parents, our kids, our partners, our best friends. And so I had a lot of questions come in actually about soul families from listeners.
Okay.
How would you define a soul family? And then are we meeting with our soulmates in multiple lives?
You don't always meet your soulmate. Okay. And what I have found in sessions is that there's a session that I conduct called Between Lives, Life Between Lives, where you see a past life regression. And then the other half of the session is up in the celestial realm, where you get to meet your soul family. And some people discover, because we bring in one soul at a time to come forward so that you can recognize who they are today, whether they are deceased or still here. Their soul still exists up there, right? And so sometimes a soul will come forward, and then the client will just say, "Oh my gosh," and they'll just start weeping, because it is their soulmate who is not here. And it's basically a decision. They're sort of on the other side. It was a decision that they made. Of course, you're not consciously remembering that you chose not to have your soulmate, but that does come up in sessions. Soul families are really interesting because, as you know, we trade roles, right? Sometimes a brother today is your husband in a past life. Wasn't that you?
It was me. It was me.
Yeah. So
I haven't told him that yet.
But, oh gosh. Okay.
No,
well, it's not uncommon.
It's fine. Yes, it's not uncommon. Right.
It's not uncommon.
Yes.
So you may have a child that is your best friend in a past life. There's sometimes you are sisters And a sister could be a parent, your mother in a past life. So it's so curious. The soul group, you all sit and decide, okay, what are we going to do this time? Because you want to change it up. And yeah, there are some times that you come back multiple times as mother-daughter, skipping, some timelines. Yeah, so it's really interesting how roles reverse and change.
You mentioned sometimes our soulmates are not here. So do we all have one soulmate? Do we have multiple soulmates?
I have seen where there have been, multiple soulmates coming through, and that's okay. Listen, there's no rules when it comes to that. I do want to talk quickly about soul contracts.
Yes.
Nobody can cancel a soul contract because contracts are soul to soul, not human to human, not person to person. It is written, it is divine, and this is done up there before we come into the body, and we agreed to do it.
So that soul contract, to get granular about a soul contract, what does that look like? That can be a marriage. That could be a traumatic event.
That's right. That could be having a narcissist mother. It could be, it's again, these are the narcissist mother. Give them an Academy Award because they are here playing a role. They really are. And that's not who they are up there. It's simply a character, and it's really difficult for people to wrap their head around. I cannot tell you how many comments there are. It's like, I would never have chosen my father. I would never have chosen my mother. And the truth of the matter is you did. Not you, but your soul did.
And so then let's go on the narcissist mother train. So what are we learning from that? Like, what is our soul lesson from a narcissist mother?
Boundaries. Patience, but boundaries is a huge one. It's like, how much are you going to take? And so the mother is going to push and push and push because that's the told me last week, and I wrote it down. No is a full sentence. Just really stuck with me. No is a full sentence. And you have the free will to say no. And don't worry about what other people think.
You go on journeys every day with people. What other wounds and lessons are common?
Fears. I mean, yeah, fears, and people that are experiencing anxiety. Anxiety is off the roof right now. It is an epidemic. Everyone, and what it is fear, but fear of what? And so there's let's go back into that high-rise building. Fears are, there are levels to it. There are so many, but also, relationships is a big one. People come to me, it's like, my sister hates me and I don't know why. It's like, what did I ever do to her? And wow, I have really seen some incredible sessions come with full understanding of the why. So I'll give you a quick example because I do have this one on my YouTube channel where a client came to me. I'll try to be quick. She came to me with her sister hates her. And in fact, she said she tried to kill me when I was like 2. She tried to smother me with a pillow. Her sister was 4, and the mother walked in. And now she says, my whole life, I feel like I have to appease her just to get her to love me or even like me. It's like, what did I ever do? She spent 45 minutes talking about her sister. So I knew this was important to her. When I took her through her session, she had QHHT. So we saw multiple lives, and her sister never showed up in any of them. And I didn't want her to leave without closure. So this time I did what I did with you, where it's like, let's go to the root cause of what is going on with it. Like I had to like pull her into it. And she found herself, she is a Black woman today. They were born in Jamaica. And what she said is, I am a white man and I'm standing on a porch and I'm looking out at all my slaves. So you can only guess who her sister was, right? Oof. Yeah. And so, I won't get into it because there's actually a warning. You can hear it on YouTube. It's only nine or 10 minutes.
I'll link it here. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty powerful. But a lot of people will say, well, what does that do now? How does that help me? Well, the moment she woke up and we had that conversation, what she discovered, because she's pretty much given up. She's like, I'm so done. I'm just so done trying to get her to like me. But this opened her eyes to a whole other level that now she says, I can't give up. I need to just pour so much love to her and just show her love. And it's not about me and I can't be selfish. I am going to get her to love me and no matter what. And I need to be more patient with her. And so it can be life-changing, right?
That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I literally could talk to you all day. There's a couple more questions from listeners. Are there times in our lives when we are ready or not ready to do a past life regression? Is it always beneficial? Or what are the benefits in your opinion?
Well, I think we talked about the benefits, how, we can tap into your fears, your phobias, your patterns, but it's a matter of really just letting go and trusting that your higher self is going to take you exactly where you need, right? Mm-hmm. You may not even know that you have a certain hang up, but they do. They know that there's a repeating pattern that you're doing that's hurting you. So just trust that process.
I love that. And then we had a question about, can you do a past life regression to do a future life projection?
Of course. Yes. So that's really interesting. And I do use future regression on occasion. And I'll tell you when I do it.
So I'm so sorry to say that I lost Mayra's audio here at the end of this interview. But she goes on to say that when someone is in a situation where they are at a crossroads, she gave an example of a woman whose partner had moved across the country. Should she move to be with him or should she stay where she is? So Mayra asked this woman's higher self to take her 10 years into the future, where she saw her house with her partner in Seattle and ultimately saw a life that she wanted. And it helped her make the decision to move. So that's when she would do a future progression, if you will. The listener questions were so great. Thank you for sending them. I'm so sorry we lost Mayra's audio, but she answered another question about kids. A listener was wondering about asking them about their past lives because they are so open. And Mayra suggested that, yes, from ages 3 to 7, this is a great time to ask them. And when they are playing is the best because they are in a higher frequency moment when they play instead of eating, which she explained is more grounding. And you can ask them if they remember being in the womb. You can start there. And then you can ask if they remember anything before that. So I tried this on Wes, my 4-year-old, and he said that he remembered being in my belly and that he enjoyed kicking me from inside there. So I'm going to leave you with that right there, but I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I love this subject so much. It is so fascinating to me. And if you want to dive deeper, Mayra has 2 podcasts, Past Lives with Mayra Rath and the Starseed Collective. Both of them are linked in the show notes with all the other great content that we talked about. And if you have any other questions, you can hit me up on Insta or sign up for my newsletter at thewooreportpodcast.com. And you can email me there too after you sign up. And please hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And your ratings really help. So if you can give us all the stars and a quick comment, I am so grateful. Thank you for being here and for being open and non-judgy and part of my woo fam. Grateful for you. Bye.